At the beginning of 2022, I made myself the promise that I would double my portfolio this year. And I even went onto a YouTube live stream to share that with everyone watching and hold myself accountable. Now, seeing as my portfolio is still new, still quite small, only got a couple of buy-to-lets in there, I thought this can't be too hard, right? So for anyone that doesn't already know, I am based on the South Coast. I live just outside of Brighton and I invest almost 5 hours away up in the north in Liverpool. Now, of course, as you can imagine, every trip starts very similar. Every trip is the same routine. And January 2022, when I started to take action on this plan to double my portfolio, was no different. So first off, I scan Rightmove looking for properties and of course shortlisting them. Then once I have shortlisted them, I then call the agents, I book the viewings and then add them to a Google Doc so I can check the schedule whenever I'm on the go. I then pack my bags, get in the car and off I go. A few hours later, you know, the SpongeBob, that's probably a really bad impression. I've arrived. Only 4.5 hours, so not too shabby if I do say so myself. That's not such a bad trip. Today's strategy, viewings all day. No, between 12 and 5, I've got viewings more or less every half an hour. Luckily within the same area, shouldn't be too bad. Should just crack them out, view as many as possible. So another thing that I will do in between viewings is I'll drive around. If I've got 15, 20 minutes or maybe half an hour, whatever it is, between a viewing, instead of just sitting around on my phone, which is very tempting, I could drive up and down the streets of local properties. And what I'm looking for is, you know, empty houses, rundown houses. After hitting my viewings, at the end of the day, I head back to the hotel to get some rest, get some food in me, and of course, run the numbers from the viewings that day. So what I'll tend to do, particularly at the moment, the market's so hot, is do a viewing late last night, doing some of the numbers, trying to get my head around what I'm going to offer, and yeah, get up this morning and just take action on it. There's no point sitting on it for a couple of days, just get that offer in, get that answer, whether it's a yes or quite often no. Whilst I think of it, there was something I wanted to talk about in this video, which was actually my process of viewing, particularly when I'm doing half an hour slots. You know, you've got to be quite time efficient. So as I mentioned, I group them all up in the same area so that I'm not overly stressed getting from one to the next. But what I'm trying to do is arrive 5 minutes early, trying to walk that street, maybe go up and down once, if possible. It's not always possible. And then I'm going to look, obviously, at the house from the outside. I'm going to take a photograph, I'm going to take a picture of the roof and the front of the house, because I might want to come back and revert back to the photo of that roof. I might want to send it to a builder, and I'll then move inside the house. So when inside the house, I tend to try and take a picture per room. Obviously the agent's created some details, so most of that is already done. So what I'm focused on really is, are there any damp spots? Are there any cracks? Are there any points that will need work and attention that I need to remember and come back to on this photograph? Then I might take a picture of the boiler, the consumer unit, which is, you know, whether it's an old or a new fuse board. Have a quick look at the wiring, see if it's the old or the new wiring. Take a picture from the back, the external there, the garden, and really I'm just constantly thinking, how much money do I need to spend here? What's this refurb? Is it 8k, 12k, 15, 20? These days it's more 15 to 20 because material prices have gone up, builder costs have gone up. So I'm really just constantly thinking about that, but taking photographs that are going to help as a reminder to how much this refurb might cost. Unfortunately, not all trips go to plan, and on this occasion, I managed to get a nail in my front tyre, which is so annoying. Not the first time, I'm sure it won't be the last time, but sometimes that is the price that you pay for finding good deals. And on this trip, I noticed an empty property for sale that would lead me to, of course, making contact, doing a direct to vendor letter, and without me knowing, that would open up the opportunity where I ended up speaking to a large portfolio landlord. Scroll forward 6 months. Yes, the conveyancing took 6 months. That's a whole other story which I will cover in the future. But for now, let's take a look around my new buy-to-let. Right then, I'm going to keep this quite quick so that we can move on to the numbers in just 1 minute. But as you can see, this is a bit of a dated, nice 2-bedroom property though. It's a good layout. It's currently vacant. As you can see when you come in the front door, you've kind of got this open plan, sitting, dining, flow through to the kitchen, which is quite good. And as you can already see, the kitchen is actually quite a nice size for a property of this size. So currently getting quotes from Howden's Magnet and DIY Kitchens to try and do a nice job on this area. The back porch itself, as you can see, has a bit of a damp issue, so we'll be doing a DPC, then replaster, put that all right. Bathroom at the back of the property on the ground floor is quite standard for these types of properties in this road, but it's fully tiled, needs to be stripped back. I'm going to work with the same layout, just replace the suite, new tiles, make it look really fresh. I do the same for the kitchen really. I try and keep things simple. The layout works, don't change it too much, just upgrade what is there, keep that cost down. But as we move upstairs, you're going to see that we have got 2 double bedrooms. So 2 nice size double bedrooms. There is a bit of mould in them at the moment just from how the previous tenant was living, but they're good size. You can't actually see, they've got thick layers of wallpaper on them, so it needs to be stripped back to the plaster. The whole house is going to be re-skimmed, and then obviously new flooring, full decorate throughout, a couple of new sockets, job done. Now that you've seen the tour, I'm guessing you're going to want to hear the numbers. I paid $54,000 for this property. I'm intending to spend £21,300 on the refurb. Now, when I agreed to buy it back at the beginning of the year, back in January, I was intending like £19,000 or £20,000. However, given the rising cost of materials, the demand for builders right now, and demand for kitchens have definitely gone up in price. I've now revised that. I'm now looking at about £21,300 as the refurb amount, and end value wise, refinance wise, which is probably the most important part, is going to be £95,000. So at the time of agreeing it was looking like £90,000, but of course the market has continued to grow in the last 6 months with everything that's been going on. And not only that, but a house has just sold in the same street, very nicely done, for £100,000. Now, it's exactly the same layout, exactly the same garden size. However, they've gone and put decking out there, gone all out on the garden. I won't be doing that, but I will be going all out in the house. So I think £95,000 is very achievable. I think it's realistic. And I guess you'll have to subscribe if you want to see what the house looks like after the refurb and if I hit that value. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.